So today we're talking about Aramex. If you are someone that buys a lot of things from outside the country, you've probably or by any chance heard about Aramex. Um, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it nicely. Is it Aramex? Aramex. I'm not sure. I'm sure. Yeah, I've made a bunch of videos so far about shipping and all that. If you guys have been watching or following the channel, I've made a couple of videos about Amazon, eBay, and all that. So when I made a purchase of this tablet, the diagnostic tool, I bought it on eBay, as most of you do know, and the seller happens to ship the item through Aramex. So when I made the purchase, the seller was like, "Okay, hey, the item that you bought, we have the item and it's ready for shipping, but now the amount that you are offering is a bit, in terms of the shipping fee, it's a bit low. So in that case, we need to send it through the post office." And I'm like, man, I've had a couple of issues, or I've had a couple of problems when you send in an item to post office. They intend to ask for money, they intend to give you some difficulties, and they act like you actually paying custom duties there. And that was what I was trying to avoid. So I told the guy, and he was like, "Oh no, don't worry, we're going to sort everything out. You're not gonna go through any tough time." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" It's like, yeah. Then they decided to ship the item through post office, and when they shipped it from their country using post office, it's arrived in South Africa through Aramex. Okay, so Aramex is a courier company. If you guys do not know about them, they do ship or receive items. So when you ship an item from another country, the state or wherever, and it gets into South Africa, they will receive the item, and then from there they will do the delivery. They will do the custom clearance and all that. When the item got there, I received the message that, hey, your item is now in South Africa and it has been handed to Aramex. And I'm like, but I told this guy that I don't want to go through these problems, because I've been through this problem and that's what I was trying to avoid. Firstly, custom duties. Second, you have to go through a whole type, custom procedures, and waiting for days and all that. So he said no, I shouldn't worry. So I thought, okay, he knows what he's doing. So I was very pissed off. I sent him a message, "This is the situation, and I told you very well that I don't want a courier company that's going to stress me. I want the item to come from there straight into my house, and I don't want to pay any custom duties." So he's like, "Sorry, but blah, how much is the custom duty?" I was really pissed to the extent that I sent him a message that I'm going to give him a bad review, and I think that's what triggered him. I actually waited for how much the clearance fee was, because remember, when an item arrives in South Africa, you pay for custom duties depending on the courier company that the person uses. The custom duties would depend on how heavy and the value of the item. So imagine this big carrying case coming through from wherever country. So yeah, it was during Christmas or New Year, if I'm not mistaken. It came through. Aramex sent me a message, "Mr. Bismarck, your item is with us, and your custom fees." Actually, they did not even send me a message. What happened is the item was delaying, okay, and I had to follow up. The problem is, I was thinking that the courier company was going to get, I was going to get a phone call from them and say, "Hey, your item is with us and you need to pay so and so we can release it." Nothing. They just went mute. The last message I received was through an email which says, "Your item is in South Africa and you have to wait about 2 to 3 days." I waited more than that, so I was a bit worried. I was like, what is happening? So I ended up phoning them in the morning. When I tried the first shot, it was not going through because it was very early, I think around 6 to 7. And I tried again around 8. It went through. So when it went through, they answered. They're like, "Oh, your item has been here for about 4 days to 5 days now. We were expecting your call." I'm like, "What? Expecting my call?" These guys must be crazy. So I needed it, so I just had to be patient, and I did follow the right procedure. They're like, "Okay, we're going to release an invoice, which is your custom fees and all that." I'm like, damn. So yeah, they released it after I dropped the call. They released it after a few minutes, and then I had to phone the seller, telling him, "Hey, remember I told you I don't have additional money to pay for custom fees, because already the device that I bought has drained me financially." Remember, the actual cost was about $500 if I'm not mistaken. And the guy was like, hey, due to shipping cost and all that, you have to add another $100. And I'm like, damn, dude, you're supposed to have specified this in the description. So now it's more like buying it in the country, calculating and adding all the costs that I had to pay in terms of custom duties, shipping fee. I mean, in the country, I was getting it around 14,000 or 15 or so. So now it's basically the same cost that I had to pay to get it outside and still waste my time by waiting, which it doesn't make sense. So sometimes when you're buying something from outside, they are not always cheaper. You may find something in the country on Take a Lot, you may find it for 2,000, but on the other side, it might be cheaper. It might be maybe 1.5 for 1,000, but after you calculate all the shipping cost and everything, the custom duties, which you will not know, but later you will know, that is when you will know that you messed up. So I spoke with the seller. He was actually kind to me. He was nice, and he decided to um, support with half of the amount for custom duties. That is after I've made all the purchase and the item is in the country. I called him. I was very mad. I was pissed off. He's like, okay, let's cut everything short. I'm going to pay half of the amount, which he sent it through PayPal. I received it, and then I made a payment for custom duties. So I waited, I think about 3 days or so after the custom fees, and then they sent me a message that, hey, your item is going to be delivered in the morning today, blah blah blah, and then a whole bunch of stories. So with Aramex experience, I think that that should conclude my video. um, I think it's not really bad. Okay, there are a whole lot of courier companies that you can choose, and there are a whole lot of, I mean, they are way expensive courier companies than Aramex. I've used Buffalo Logistics. I've used which one was I complaining recently? There was another one that I was actually complaining. I made a video. Is it DHL? Something. No, 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 something like that. I made a video about one courier company which gave me a bad experience. There are a whole lot. With Aramex, it's not really bad. What I would say is, do not expect an item to be shipped from overseas, eBay, Amazon, Wish, or whatever without paying extra fees. I think most thing that needs to happen is you need to always communicate with the seller. Let the seller know that, hey, you don't want to pay any additional fees, and they must send the item through. I mean, they must make inquiries when they are shipping the item that, hey, where is this item going? Which courier company would this be going to? Does the person needs to pay any additional fees? Let the person know, because sometimes they also don't know. They only get to know when item arrives in the country, and we will be paying a whole lot of cost, and at the end of the day, it wasn't even planned. Those amounts were not even planned. So that is the, I mean, difficulties that I faced. The custom duties was not that much because they also paid for shipping cost in the other country before it came here. So the guy actually supported with some of the cost and all that. So with the, I mean, shipping cost, do not expect it to be delivered to your house just like that. And you also need to follow up when it comes to Aramex. I think you should follow up every now and then. Phone them, find out how far it is, what it is. You have to wait, you have to do this, because if you don't phone them and you are waiting that the item is going to be, I mean, delivered to your house, it's not always the case. Sometimes you might end up waiting whilst they are also waiting for you to phone them, and that, I think, happens to be one of the worst experience I've experienced. I mean, if you are expecting a client to pay for some fees, you need to call the client. Hey, your item is with us. You have to pay this amount and this amount, and that's how it's supposed to be. I wouldn't know if I need to pay some cost or something. So that is the, I mean, experience that I faced with Aramex. I'm not sure if I'm the only person who experienced this, but if you have ever used these companies and you have also experienced similar thing, list it in the comment section. Let me know what your experience was. I think that's it. If you have any comments or questions based on this whole experience, or if you're also willing to buy something from overseas, you're not sure what the situation is going to be like, drop some comments in the comment section. Let me know what you are purchasing, how much it is, and in terms of the shipping cost and all that, and I'll be able to tell whether you will pay for an additional cost or not. So that is it for today. Thank you very much for coming here. If you are new on the channel, kindly hit on the subscribe button. I'll really appreciate it very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
How are you, man? Ah. Hey, bro. I wasn't sure what time you come in. Man. I wasn't sure what time you coming. Yeah, but I've been waiting for almost 1 month now.
Serious?
Hey, these things for outside, they take forever to arrive. Which way must I sign? I must just sign here.
Yeah, and your name also.
Full name or just...
Your full name.
Okay. Hey, but it won't fit.
It's long.
Yeah, very long. Almost 1 month waiting.
1 month.
Hey,
It's been a long way.
imagine. You guys called though, because I wasn't sure if you were gonna call me. That's why I had to come stand outside.
I was going to call you when I'm outside.
Right.
Yeah, when I wasn't gonna just leave.
Hey, some of them they just
The people said guys.
they expect us to assume they're outside.
gonna go.
Thanks a lot, man. Sure.